Hello, Applied Mathers. We're going to be looking at population density project, and specifically I'm making the video right now on how to recreate the table. So my assumption is that you've already read this introduction and some of the instructions. So right now we're going to talk about recreating the following table, and this is the table down here. So in the Your Work section, notice that there is already a document done there. This is the reflection part. So when you are finished with the project, then just put your name on the top of this and then fill in some of the answers here. Don't worry if it goes onto a second page because you have a few sentences each. Completely fine. So go into Add or Create, and now we're going to add a new sheet. And it's going to create a sheet, and the nice thing is we're already going to attach my name to it and the name of the project, so I don't actually have to name the project at all. So when I open this up, I see it's a blank, blank, blank sheet, and as I scroll down, I see it goes all the way to 1,000, and that's obviously tedious. So we're going to do some cleaning up here. So notice that we are going to take this data over here, the region, and we're going to paste it into here, and for some reason it's selecting more, so it looks like I'm just going to have to manually type this. So region, land area, and that's square miles, and then we have the current population. Notice that each of these cells are not wrapping like we saw earlier. This one is being cut off and this one has overflow. So density, by the way, the abbreviation for people is just PPLE, or excuse me, just PPL, so we can use that. And then area per person in acres. So how many acres does each person get? And notice this is the extent of my of what I need. I'm going to make this slightly larger so maybe you can see a little bit better. So let's start to clean this up a little bit because we want to make a nice and attractive table rather than all the overflow and the near infinite amount of space here. So I'm going to start by just cleaning up the top. I want to align it so it goes into the middle, and I want to align it so it's in the middle of vertical and horizontal here. Next, I want to wrap appropriately. So remember the text wrapping icon there. And I'm going to select again. I selected the middle option there. Notice that things aren't quite filling out as I want to. For some reason, it's cutting off. So I'm going to click here and drag and make this just slightly larger. Okay, now notice that we don't need columns F all the way through Z. So I'm going to select F. I'm going to drag this over, hit the Shift button, and then that selects everything. Right click and delete. I'm going to do the same thing down here, although I don't know how much space I need. I'm going to select some number down here. Then I'm going to drag all the way down and hit the Shift button so it selects everything. Right click anywhere here. And again, right click, you can do so with 2 fingers and tap on your Chromebook. And I'm going to delete those rows. So now I have a little bit cleaner. On top of that, if you select this top corner and you go to Format, Alternating Colors, now here you can just select a color. So let me just show you once again. I am going to select everything by selecting the corner. I'm going to Format, go to Alternating Colors, and select whatever color that you prefer. I'm going to X out of this since I don't need that anymore. So as we can see, I have quite a clean sheet now with no extraneous stuff. So what else do I need? I need region. I have Massachusetts. Again, I have a hard time spelling that. So if you do abbreviate, you just do MA, completely fine. Maybe I want this formatted to the side or center as well. We'll see. Japan, please avoid this. I see a lot of folks who just do lowercase. But remember, we're dealing with a professional situation. That's what class is. And second, we're dealing with proper nouns, so capitalize things appropriately. I don't mind if you abbreviate New York City like so, but please do not abbreviate with lowercase. New York City, because in the world, NYC is clear, it's easy, it's obvious. Massachusetts, maybe everyone doesn't recognize it, but certainly everyone in this class would. California, you can abbreviate CA if you would like. Los Angeles. I'm going to avoid the LA, although that is a very common thing. Since I'm dealing up here with states, LA might be confused with Louisiana. So let's go ahead and type this one in all the way. Now down here, you're going to do other choices. Maybe you want to do Boylston or another local town or a country that you're very attracted to, Mexico, Canada, Spain, Senegal, something like that. You just want to see how the population of these other countries compare to something you're familiar with, like Massachusetts, for example. All right, so down here, I'm going to do the world in Texas. I don't know where it is, so I'm just going to leave myself space there. And what do I mean by that, the world in Texas? Well, Texas is quite large. And what you're going to do after collecting the land area data about Texas, you're going to enter the current population of the world here, not Texas. And we're going to see what the density is if we squeeze the entire world, all the people, into Texas. How will that compare to other population densities that you've seen? Is it going to be obtusely massive so that the density is just going to be too much, or is it going to be something reasonable? So here, make sure to put the world's population right there. So let me walk through with you how to do Massachusetts, and then you can finish the rest of it. So let's go back to our Google page here, the class, and we're going to go to Wolfram Alpha, which is where Siri gets most of her data. So let's say, for example, here, we want to know what the land area of Massachusetts is. And it's going to come up with 7,800 square miles eventually. So the total area is 10,000. But land area, as we see here, is 7,800 square miles. Why am I considering land area? Because people don't really live on the water, like just literally on the water. Yes, there's such a thing as a houseboat. For the most part, though, water's not owned or lived on in that manner. So that's why we're looking at just land area. So we're going to take that 7,800 and we're going to type that in. Now, if you prefer to have the commas in there, notice that you can actually go up to this 1, 2, 3 icon, select number, and notice that the commas come in. That's quite helpful. But it also has decimals if you don't want the decimal. And in this case, I don't, because square miles are going to be rounded anyways. I'm going to use this decrease decimal icon and bring it down a little bit. Okay, come back here to our friend Wolfram Alpha, but instead of land area, I'm going to select that and just delete it and type in population of Massachusetts. And we're going to get a number, 6.893 million people. So don't type in the 6.893. What you're going to type in is 6,893,000. So I need to attach 3 more zeros to that and hit enter. Now notice again, if I do change this number to be so I have the commas in there, I am going to decrease the decimal. By the way, you can format things. If I select the whole thing here and select this here, it's going to automatically format all those numbers to be exactly as I want. So notice everything is formatted. So the next time I type in a large number here, it's going to automatically adjust it. So now here's the next part. It is true that I could simply ask Siri or type in what is the population density here of Massachusetts. In fact, it actually tells me it down here. But that's not the number I want to type in. Please do not type in. In this class, showing your work means showing the formula that is being used. So here, if you type equals, now you can have a formula. And remember, density is the number of people divided by the square miles. So if you select this cell here, the number of people, and now use the slash right there, which is the key with the question mark, and then select that cell right there. So notice that it automatically highlights them and it color codes it so you can see what matches with what. So hit enter, and now we have a number, 883 people per square mile. So I'm going to decrease this a little bit, maybe to the hundreds place here. Although, yes, it's true, you can't have hundreds of a people, we might see that this we're going to need that a little bit. Well, actually, maybe tenths of people will be fine. Okay, now question: what's the area per person? What's the area per person? How many acres does each person get? Well, two things I need to know. Number one, what's my formula? And then second, I need how many acres are in there in a mile. So acres in a square mile. Okay, so it turns out there are 640 acres per square mile. So watch what we're going to do. If I want to figure out how many acres each person gets, I need to know, take the square miles. I'm going to multiply it by the 640. Wait, what did I just do? Multiply. Multiply is Shift 8, gives you the asterisk, and that means multiply. 640. So you can see this little number right there. There are 49 million 49 million acres in Massachusetts. And now we divide, use the slash, by this number right here. And that means, if I decrease this a little bit just to make it a little bit more reasonable, maybe 1/100th of an acre right there. That means if we evenly divided all of Massachusetts into this, into each person gets almost an acre. Almost an acre. So almost an acre is quite large. So I would suggest maybe going to a place like Zillow.com with a W. And you can look up what your house has, how many acres, and that'll show you roughly how big it is. 0.72 is significant. A family can be comfortably living on that. In fact, more than one family can. Okay, that's the extent of it. What you're now doing is collecting more data. I do want to show you a shortcut though. Notice that each time if I do this formula, it's going to be this cell divided by this cell. It's going to, I have to manually do that. But remember, we've got this right here, that handle. If I pull this handle all the way down, it's going to automatically have, look here, if I see, look up there, I see it automatically has C4, B4, C5, B5. It automatically calculates it. So watch this. I'm going to make some number up here. Let's just say, that's the square miles, and the population is that right there. It automatically calculates it right there. That is the power of the spreadsheet. So I'm going to undo that. So again, even though it says division error, why? Because I'm dividing by 0, because currently there's no number right there. So it interprets that as a 0. But you can go ahead and drag down like this. Again, the moment you enter some data here, it's going to automatically calculate like that. So very powerful here. So that's the extent right now of this first part of the project. There are two other components to it. Number one, you do have to do a reflection using data. And secondly, you have to create a poster that compares two of the regions. Compare poster. So let's actually look at the poster here. Here's a sample poster. And we see someone compared two things here. I do want you to have some sort of a square. Like this represents a square mile. And each of these dots is a person. So in that, the density here, population density, 1,000. So they had 12. That looks more than 12. But so there are 12 dots per square, or 12,000. And over here, there's only maybe 10 because it's 10 here. So I would actually change this to more like 100 or maybe 500. And then put a lot of dots in there and then not as many over there. So that gives us a perspective on how many people are going to be living in a square mile. All right, that's the extent of this right here. Go ahead and get cracking on it. Of course, next time I see you in class, we can address some of these questions. Good luck and Godspeed to you.